Hey everyone, this week I wanted to talk about one of the elephants in the room, I think, which is going to really hinder procurement teams if they don't make a rapid change. I'm talking about hiring and specifically the skills that procurement teams hire for. I occasionally take a look at job boards just to see what's out there and to see what people are hiring for in terms of the roles and the skills that are being asked for in those roles. And honestly, when I do, I kind of get a little bit depressed. Why? Well, because the skills that are being hired for are essentially the skills that would have been relevant 10 years ago, but definitely not the skills that are necessary for procurement 2030. So if you're hiring for a role and the key skills and experience that you're putting on the job description are things like negotiation, RFP management, Excel, ERP, all of those types of skills are relevant, but they're inherently teachable. And if anyone moves cross functionally into procurement from other parts of the business, guess what? They're going to learn those skills at some point, either on the job or through some sort of external training. So if you genuinely think that those skills are a prerequisite to be able to do a procurement job, then the reality is you would never hire anyone from other parts of the business. But of course, organizations do. I think every procurement team that I've been in throughout my career has had people from operations, finance, product development, engineering that have come into the function. And most of the times they've done pretty well in there. So these definitely aren't some magic sauce that only experienced procurement professionals can figure out. Now, obviously, stakeholder management is usually one of those skills that's specified in there too. And this is where I'm going to segue into the next section, into what I think we should be hiring for. And then in the third section, what we definitely must be hiring for in the future. So stakeholder management is one thing, but you can manage stakeholders and still not be particularly effective. What I would argue is that we need people that can be true business partners and understand and interpret the needs of the business and how that then slots in to the type of work that we as procurement professionals do from day to day. So that we've talked about the hard skills and they're still relevant. They're not going to go away, but I would argue they're inherently teachable. So what about the soft skills? In the past few years, especially since around the pandemic, it's become more apparent that procurement teams generally are more effective when they have people in those teams that have the soft skills that enable them to influence the business and to get the most out of the supply base. So they are things like just generally emotional intelligence, diplomacy, communication skills. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Procurement are terrible at internal communication. Stop talking jargon, start talking the language of the business. Stop sending emails, pick up the phone, get on a plane, get in your car, go and see your stakeholders. That is effective communication. And a lot of procurement professionals sadly just don't have those skills. We wonder why sales and marketing people are so effective. And don't get me wrong, you don't have to be this big extrovert, gregarious character, but you do have to have a little bit of personality to enable yourself to be effective. If that's something that doesn't come natural to you, then you probably need to work on it. So soft skills, diplomacy, persuasion, influence, internal communications, PR, all of that is becoming increasingly relevant and is essential to be effective at any procurement role. But I would argue that those, in fact, are not enough. And what we're moving towards now are the procurement skills that will be more and more relevant in the years to come. And if you're hiring for roles now, you need to make sure that the persona that you're hiring is going to be relevant in 2030. So what do I mean by these type of skills? Well, I mean the type of AI native and tech native skills that are going to be necessary to enable that person with a good set of soft skills and with the hard skills that either they've picked up on the job or they've got through years of experience working in procurement, to be relevant for an AI first tech augmented landscape. So what do I mean by these type of skills? Well, the obvious one is you're going to need to be comfortable using LLMs. You need to be comfortable with prompt engineering. You need to be comfortable with building simple automations. So whether that's in some sort of no-code platform, or if you're able to build agents that run within something like Claude, that's going to become increasingly relevant. You're not going to need to be a coder, but you need to understand how the work flows through that agentic structure, and you need to be able to understand and build, or at least give instructions for someone else to be able to build what it is that you want it to do. If you have no clue how these systems work, then you're probably going to struggle translating your process or your workflow into what you want to be automated or augmented by AI. Next up comes really just the ability to create content using audio visual means that enables you then to be more effective to the business. So instead of sending out an email with a policy, record a podcast, record a video, publish that, and be able to market it throughout your organization. Again, this is not coding. It's not anything that's a hard technical skill, but it's being comfortable with the modern means of communication to be able to get your message across. Obviously, if you're able to vibe code an app, that we're crossing now into something that's a little bit more technical than what most procurement professionals may feel comfortable with. But again, you don't need to be able to write code to be able to do that. You do need to understand back-end databases, front-end user interface or user experience, and maybe a little bit of workflow automation if your app's going to have that as well. So all of that can help you in terms of designing a pilot. If you want to vibe code a pilot app, that you can then say, okay, this is what I want a piece of tech to do. Is there something out there on the market that can do what I've built cheaper, faster, better? And if the answer is yes, then you go out and buy it. If the answer is no, then you perhaps go out and hire a technical team of developers to make the app that you vibe coded sort of cyber secure and relevant and suitable to roll out to the business and make your IT folks happy. So all of these new sort of tech augmented or tech enabled skills are going to be increasingly relevant as we move towards 2030. So if you're hiring, the unicorn candidate that you ideally want to secure is someone that has the soft skills, someone that has the hard technical skills or curiosity that will enable them to learn them. And really the traditional procurement skills, while they're not going to go away, I would no longer say that these are the absolute prerequisite must-have skills when you're going out and hiring today in 2026. What do you think? Do you think I'm talking rubbish, or do you think that these teams will be the ones that will be able to survive the future best? I know what I'm betting my money on, and if I was a CPO or head of procurement, I would be hiring for the procurement team of the future, even if they're going to challenge me and teach me a few uncomfortable truths. Over to you. What do you think?